I've got a Nintendo 64.
You're gonna be joking me!
Gentlemen, this is...
What is up, everyone? It's Adam from FWCI, and last night I watched the first horror movie that I've ever really sat down and really paid attention to. It was John Carpenter's The Thing. Absolutely loved it. I know that it's a classic movie, and I know that it's almost required viewing for anybody who considers themselves a movie fan, so really happy to get that one ticked off the list. But it got me thinking, while I was editing my reaction and looking at the movie again, like, the dog licks the guy at the very, very start. Like, that must be to pass it on. So I think the, contamination from this alien thing is something that goes back very early. So I went and got this video called The Thing Infection Timeline. So I want to learn more about this movie because I looked into the ending as well. There's a lot of ambiguity whether MacReady is the thing or whether Childs is the thing, or both of them, or none of them. Apparently it's a little bit of an ambiguous thing that John Carpenter left out in the open for people to figure out, but some people think they've got it. But I'm keen to see what this video has to say about this movie, because I'm very curious to find out more about it. But let's check out The Thing Infection Timeline.
John Carpenter is arguably the most prolific filmmaker of all time. Escape from New York, Halloween, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, he likes Kurt Russell, does he?
And my all-time favorite horror movie, The Thing. One of the most brilliant tools he uses in The Thing is the ability for the alien to take the shape of anyone it assimilates.
What we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms, and it imitates them perfectly.
Distrust and paranoia is what makes The Thing stand out as one of the best horror movies of all time. But the question that pervades the film, who is The Thing, and when do they get infected?
Who to trust?
Blair.
There are 12 characters in The
It's
Thing.
him
Bennings,
early on.
Blair, Childs, Clark, Copper, Fuchs, Gary, MacReady, Knowles, Norris, Palmer, and Windows.
You sure that's all of them?
Clark, Copper, and Fuchs all die before they can be infected. MacReady makes it to the end, so we can remove them from the board.
Cheating bitch.
Now it gets a little harder. There are only
I think
2
MacReady
points in
was the
film where we
Thing.
know exactly who is The Thing. At the very beginning of the film, only the dog is the Thing and none of the humans.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the blood test scene, and we know that only Palmer and Blair are the Thing at that point.
I'm all right. I'm much better. And I won't harm anybody. Now, you gotta let me come back in.
We directly see Bennings, Gary, Windows, and Knowles get attacked by the Thing on screen. Windows gets torched, and Gary and Knowles both die in the explosion.
Okay. Well, that's how they all end
Between the
up.
start of the film and the blood test scene, there are 3 infections that we don't see on screen. We have to use deductive reasoning to figure out who gets infected and when.
Alright, let's do it.
First, we have this shot, intended to show that the person belonging to this shadow is about to get infected. Based on the hair, we have 3 possible victims: Norris, Palmer, or Windows. Now, we know from the blood test scene that it isn't Windows, so between Norris and Palmer, all we have to go on is the shape of the collar. Palmer's wearing this denim vest with a low collar and ragged shoulders that would definitely make a different silhouette. Norris's collar matches perfectly. It may sound like a stretch, but Carpenter was so specific with this movie that it is definitely Norris who gets infected first.
I'm sorry, fellas, but I'm not up to it.
At this point, we have an infected dog and an infected Norris. The next sign of an infection comes when Knowles brings in some
dirty drawers in the kitchen trash can.
I think
Later
these
on,
belong
we
to
discover that the
Childs.
Thing can't mimic clothing, and that destroyed clothing means another attack. There are several members of the crew that have been visibly shown to be wearing long johns: Blair, Copper, MacReady, Knowles, and Palmer. Copper and MacReady never get assimilated. Knowles gets attacked much later, and Blair continues to work against the Thing for several more scenes, so that means Palmer has now been assimilated. Sorry, bud.
Oh,
Bennings gets attacked by the Thing corpse that was not completely dead yet and is summarily executed. So we know for a fact that Blair is assimilated at the time of the blood test because they find him missing in a homemade spacecraft beneath his shack.
Smart SOB, put it together piece by piece.
So between the scene where Blair destroys the radio and the blood test scene, Palmer or Norris assimilates him. 2 or 3 days pass between these scenes, so it could easily have happened without anyone noticing. It probably happened close to the time where Fuchs burned himself alive to keep from becoming the Thing.
He burned himself before it could get to him.
Norris Thing kills Copper. MacReady kills Norris Thing. MacReady kills Clark. Palmer Thing infects Windows. MacReady kills Palmer Thing. MacReady kills Windows Thing.
Yep.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot. When you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
There's one final human we haven't discussed, Childs. Childs and MacReady meet at the end of the film after MacReady has blown up the outpost and killed the Blair Thing. Neither knows if the other has been assimilated. As the audience, we know that MacReady is still human, but we don't know about Childs. Childs acts suspicious when approaching MacReady. He also left the main building with an implausible story. This paranoia and uncertainty is exactly
I don't think it's implausible.
You don't want that tainted
Blair
for you
was
by
running all
recommending
around that
subscribing
place.
and then stopping the video. Still here? Okay, this next part is deduction based on a few very specific shots. Carpenter has never and probably will never admit whether Childs is the thing at the end, but he left us clues. The first clue is the jacket Childs wears. The last time we see him, he is definitely a human. He's wearing this nice blue coat and is guarding the only entrance to the main building. More importantly, look at the coat next to him on the hook. Similar, maybe a bit darker. Later, Carpenter shows us this very specific shot moving through the main building. Childs is gone, the door is open, but most importantly, the dark jacket that was next to Childs is gone. The color really doesn't matter that much, except that the coat still on the hook is definitely not the dark jacket. This leads me to believe that Childs was attacked and his jacket destroyed in the process, meaning he had to find a new jacket, so he grabbed that one.
Yeah.
You believe any of this voodoo bullshit, Blair?
The next piece of evidence for Childs being the thing, Childs claims to have seen Blair outside the camp, but the generator goes off only a few seconds later. The generator was inside the building Childs just left, therefore Blair had to be in that building.
We got back inside and blew the generator.
Good point. Didn't think of
The
that.
last piece of evidence is MacReady's interaction with Childs. MacReady is suspicious of everyone at all times. So when he approaches Childs with a cavalier, well, we're both gonna die attitude, it's only to lower his guard.
If we've got any surprises for each other, I don't think we're in much shape to do anything about it.
Now, MacReady offers whiskey to Childs. If he was human, Childs would definitely not accept the drink because he knows food and drink can be a source of infection. Childs takes a drink with no persuasion necessary. MacReady laughs because, well, Childs just failed his test. And that's the end of the movie. So based on the evidence, here's probably what happened off screen. Blair Thing tunneled into the building. Then Blair Thing attacked Childs and ruined his clothing in the process. The Childs Thing changes into a jacket that looks similar to the one he had and heads into the storm to freeze and better its odds of survival. Then the Blair Thing destroys the generator. The whole fight ensues and the camp goes up. Childs Thing sees this and returns. He probably thinks the Blair Thing won, and Childs Thing would rather not freeze if he doesn't have to. But we don't see any of that, and we don't know for sure that Childs is the thing. And that's kind of the point. The whole terrifying, morbid, nihilistic point.
That was a good video. Yeah, I was very sus on it. I heard something else that the cinematographer, so you can see the little white dot in my eyes, that's from a ring light. Apparently, anytime they shot somebody who was the thing, they would have the reflection of a light in that person's eyes. And MacReady has that in his eyes, you know, throughout pretty much the entire movie. So a lot to unpack there, but I love a good conspiracy. I love a good like old movie conspiracy. Like, yeah, these are so good. And yeah, anything that you can really sink your teeth into and break down to the level where you're trying to figure out timelines and stuff, I'm always on board. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for my cover of The Thing and this infection timeline video as well. Chuck us a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We've got a lot of new content coming out. We've got World Wrestling Australia. We've got an action figure giveaway over there, so check that out as well. It's 2021, by the way, in case you're watching this in like 2030 or whatever. As always, be well, stay safe, look after your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.